You accomplished everything you said you would. You hit the goal. You got the promotion, the relationship, the body you wanted. And the next day you woke up feeling empty. This is the moment most men experience but can't explain. You've won, but it doesn't feel like winning. So you think the problem is you haven't won hard enough and you set a bigger goal. This video is about why that doesn't work and what's actually going on. By the end, you'll understand the difference between achievement and purpose. And you'll have a framework to find what actually fulfills you. And if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the one question that separates men who chase forever from men who finally feel whole. Welcome back to Deeper Dudes. But first, let's talk about why this emptiness exists in the first place. Here's something that happened over the last 50 years that nobody talks about. Our purpose institutions collapsed, go back 60, 70 years. A man got his sense of purpose from multiple places. Church gave him community and meaning. Local sports leagues gave him belonging and regular connection. His neighborhood was a real place where he knew people and they knew him. Work was just where he made money. That was it. It wasn't supposed to be his entire life. So if work was disappointing, he had church. If church was disappointing, he had his league. If his league fell apart, he had his neighborhood. There were multiple sources of meaning supporting his identity. Then something shifted. Church membership declined dramatically. Nobody bowls in leagues anymore. We don't socialize with neighbors. We don't even know their names. These institutions slowly disappeared from American life. And as they disappeared, we did something crazy. We started pouring all our need for purpose into the one place that remained: work. Now work has to give you purpose. Work has to give you community. Work has to give you identity. Work has to give you your sense of belonging. And now we're also saying work should align with your politics, your values, your entire belief system. That's an insane amount of pressure to put on one place. And when work can't deliver all of that, because it can't, it's not designed to, men feel like they're failing. They feel like they're doing something wrong. They're not. The system itself is broken. We did the exact same thing with romantic relationships. A man used to have a wife, friends, a community, spiritual practice, work, multiple sources of fulfillment and connection. Now you're supposed to have a partner who is everything. She's your best friend. She's your lover. She's your therapist. She's your rock. She's the person who understands you completely. She's your stability. She's supposed to be your entire emotional world. No one person can be that. And when she inevitably can't be, when she has her own struggles, her own needs, her own limitations, you feel like the relationship is failing. It's not failing. You're just asking one person to be 10 people. And here's the thing. We know this doesn't work. We've all seen it. You meet a guy who just lost his relationship, and suddenly he has no one. No friends, no hobbies, no interests outside that relationship. Just gone. Completely isolated. Because he put all his relational eggs in one basket. The same thing happens with work. A guy gets fired or his business fails, and suddenly his entire identity is gone. Not just his income, his sense of self, his entire purpose. Because work was supposed to be everything. We've set these institutions up to fail. We've asked impossible things, to do impossible jobs. And they do fail. And when they fail, we think we failed. But we didn't fail. We just built our lives on a foundation that was never strong enough to hold everything we put on it. So here's what happens when purpose collapses but you don't realize it. You start confusing achievement with purpose. A goal feels good when you accomplish it. Your brain gets a massive hit of dopamine. You did the thing. You won. You feel like a winner for a moment. So you think, okay, that must be my purpose. Winning things, achieving things, hitting goals. And you become an achievement addict without even realizing it. You set bigger goals, more impressive goals. Goals that look better when you talk about them at parties or post about them online. You become obsessed with the destination instead of the direction. You focus on outcomes instead of alignment. And here's the trap that nobody warns you about. The feeling of accomplishment is temporary. You win, you feel great for a few hours, maybe a day if it's a really big win, and then it's gone. The dopamine fades, the excitement disappears, and you're left with the same emptiness you had before. So you need another win, another achievement, another goal to chase. You're running on a treadmill that doesn't go anywhere, but you can't stop running because the moment you stop, you feel the emptiness again. So you just keep sprinting toward bigger achievements, wondering why you feel like you're suffocating even as you're succeeding. Before we go any further, I want to pause for something important. None of what we've been talking about matters if we don't have the energy and clarity to actually implement it. We all know what it feels like to wake up exhausted. No energy, poor focus, and zero motivation. We also know what it feels like when we get good, restful sleep, targeted therapy, and the right supplements. I've personally tested more things than you can imagine. I'm like your personal guinea pig. Everything I have listed in the description below is science-backed and extensively tested. And if you grab anything through my links, you'll be supporting this channel at zero cost to you. Thanks for taking a look. Now let's get back to it. Some men do this their whole lives. They achieve incredible things. On paper, they're massive successes. Awards, promotions, money, status. But they wake up at 55 years old and realize they have no real friends. Their relationships are shallow. They don't know who they are outside of what they've accomplished. And they're completely lost. Here's the critical distinction that changes everything. A goal is something you achieve, and then it's done. Purpose is something you pursue for the rest of your life. Most men confuse these two things and it destroys them. They say my purpose is to make $1 million. Then they make $1 million and suddenly they're depressed. Because the purpose was actually just a goal. And now that the goal is achieved, there's nothing left. The finish line they were running toward disappears, and they have no idea what to do next. Real purpose is different. Real purpose sounds like this. I want to help people see things differently. I want to create things that inspire people. I want to build a community of men who are honest with each other. These aren't goals because they don't have an endpoint. You can't finish them. You can do them for the rest of your life. And every time you do them, you get fulfilled, not because you achieved something, but because you're living in alignment with what you actually believe matters. The tragedy is, most men never discover their actual purpose. They just discover the next goal, the next achievement, the next thing to chase. And they get really good at chasing. They become world-class chasers, professional goal hitters. But chasing things doesn't make you feel fulfilled. It makes you feel exhausted. Serving something bigger than yourself, that's what creates fulfillment. Living in alignment with your actual beliefs, that's what makes you feel whole. Contributing to something you care about deeply, that's what gives you energy instead of draining it. Those are completely different things. Let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. What's the cost of living the achievement life? If your entire identity is built on accomplishment, then failure becomes identity death. So you can never admit failure. You can never admit struggle. You can never admit weakness or doubt. You become a person who performs all the time. You're always on. You're always managing the image. You're always trying to look like you have it figured out, even when you're falling apart inside. And you can't have real relationships because real relationships require honesty about struggle. You can't let people see the real you because the real you isn't always winning. You also can't enjoy the present because you're always focused on the next goal. You're never satisfied. You never take a break. You never just sit with what you have and feel grateful. There's always something bigger to achieve, something more impressive to chase. There's also the health cost. Constant stress, inability to sleep. Your nervous system is always activated, always in fight or flight mode, always trying to get to the next level, never resting. And the relational cost is devastating. You have no close friends. You have acquaintances, networking contacts, people who know your professional success, but no one who actually knows you. No one who knows what you're afraid of, what you struggle with, what keeps you up at night. Because you never let anyone see the real you. This is the life of the achievement-driven man. And yes, he might be successful, he might have money, he might have status and respect, but he's lonely, he's exhausted. And deep down, he's lost. So how do you find actual purpose? You stop looking at what's impressive and you start looking at what moves you, what pisses you off. What injustice can't you ignore? What would you do for free because it matters to you? What would you do even if no one gave you credit, even if no one ever knew you did it? That's closer to your purpose than any achievement goal you've ever set. Purpose usually emerges from something you struggled with. You went through a depression and now you want to help other men with depression. You grew up lonely and now you want to create real community. You saw your dad struggle in silence and now you want to teach men about vulnerability. Your pain becomes your purpose. The thing that almost destroyed you becomes the thing you're here to address. The other critical thing, purpose requires community. You can't do purpose alone. You need people who believe what you believe. You need people who are going in the same direction, fighting for the same things. You need people who will remind you why you're doing this when it gets hard, when you want to quit, when the achievement addiction tries to pull you back. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, what do I actually believe? Not what should I believe, not what sounds good, but what do I actually care about deep down? What direction am I actually trying to go? And then, who else believes this? Where are those people? How do I connect with them? Because the men who escape the achievement trap aren't the ones who achieve more. They're the ones who stop chasing goals and start living purpose. Drop a comment. What's one thing you've been chasing that you're realizing might not actually fulfill you? And what do you think your actual purpose might be? No judgment, just curiosity. Well, that's it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful, please be sure to give it a like and maybe even subscribe to Deeper Dudes. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. It all helps the channel more than you know, and it also tells us that we should make more content like this. We post videos every other day that tackle real challenges men face. Remember, struggling doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. The fact that you took time to watch this means you're ready for something better. Thanks again for watching and for checking out all the amazing products in the description below. They could jumpstart your healing journey. Catch you in the next one, Deeper Dudes. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving.